Every morning, he stood at the window, staring down at the street. It was as if he was searching for something only his heart could see. This was Mr. Raymond. He was once a strong man, a firefighter, a father of two, and a husband who was deeply loved. But time, like a quiet thief, had taken everything away, one by one. His wife Mary passed away 5 years ago. His sons, caught up in their own lives, their own families and careers, slowly drifted away. At first, they called every weekend. Then it became once a month, then only on holidays. And then, almost never. But Mr. Raymond never complained, just waited. He kept the house exactly the way his wife had loved it. The curtains were tied with blue ribbons, just so. Flowers always sat by the kitchen window, and her favorite armchair remained untouched. Every single evening, he would sit in that chair and talk to her picture. "Don't you worry," he'd whisper softly. "They'll come soon. They just need a little time." One cold winter morning, he woke up feeling a biting chill. The old heater was broken again. He simply wrapped himself in a blanket and went to make some tea. When he opened the fridge, it was nearly empty. He just smiled sadly to himself. "I'll go get groceries tomorrow," he thought. He walked to the mailbox, but it was empty, just like yesterday. Still, his heart whispered, maybe tomorrow. That afternoon, the phone rang. It was his son, Daniel.
"Dad."
He said, "I'm just so busy right now. I'll visit next month. I promise. Next month." He'd heard that promise so many times before. But still, he replied with warmth, "Of course, son. Take your time." Later that evening, the neighborhood kids were playing outside. A little boy ran up to him, holding a colorful drawing. "Grandpa Ray," he said, "I made this for you." For the first time in a long time, Mr. Raymond's eyes truly sparkled. He pinned the drawing right on the kitchen wall, a splash of bright color in his quiet gray home. Days turned into weeks. His sons never came. One night, a sharp tightness gripped his chest. He reached for the phone, but his hands trembled too much to dial. He whispered into the empty room, "Mary, I think I'm coming home." He wasn't afraid. He was just tired. The next morning, the neighbors noticed he wasn't at his usual spot by the window. They knocked on his door, but there was no answer. When they finally went inside, they found him in his wife's chair. His eyes were closed, and a peaceful smile was on his face, as if he'd finally been reunited with the one person he missed the most. On the table beside him lay an old photo, a young Raymond, with his wife and 2 little boys perched on his shoulders, all of them laughing under a warm summer sun. A few days later, his sons finally arrived. Their faces were filled with guilt, their hands with flowers, and their hearts with a heavy, sinking regret. They walked through the silent house. They saw the broken heater, the empty fridge, the untouched gifts he had bought for their visits that never happened. And then they found the chair. Beside it was a letter addressed to them. Their hands shook as they opened it. "My dear sons," it read, "I know life gets busy. I know you wanted to come but couldn't. But I want you to remember one thing: I never stopped loving you. Not for a single moment." By the time they finished reading, their tears had soaked the page. Outside, the wind carried the faint sound of children laughing, the only joy their father had left in his final days. One of the neighbors whispered, "If only they had come sooner." He waited for so long. The sons stood silently in the doorway of the empty home. They looked at their father's chair. They looked at the window where he once waited. And for the first time in their lives, they truly understood what it meant to lose something forever. That day, they didn't just bury their father. They buried the chance to say, "I'm sorry," the chance to say, "Thank you," and the chance to say, "Dad, we love you." Some goodbyes break you long after they're spoken. Some regrets become a punishment that lasts a lifetime. And some parents, they never ever stop loving their children even when their children forget to love them back.